What's good, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat at Kick It with your host, Bando. We are back today to discuss and go over, review a little bit of this Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg fight. Brandon Moreno had a fantastic performance, but I don't want to take nothing away from how good Steve Erceg looked even in the loss. So we definitely got to go through and recap that entire fight. Also, some huge fight announcements just got dropped today. So let's get right into it. Let's go. Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg was what the 125-pound division needs. 100% what the 125-pound division needed and got. It needs action. It needs action. It needs excitement. It needs fighters to bring something to the table. Now, having this fight in Mexico City, having a top-tier Mexican star in the main event, and getting the win, it was a fantastic moment. It was huge for the card, and it's big for the flyweights. Now, the reason I said this fight was so good for the flyweights is not necessarily because of Brandon's win or anything like that. It's just the way they performed, right? They went out there and they put on a fight that actually, it wasn't like crazy exciting, like a war type of fight, but it was an actual MMA fight. The martial arts were mixed. The game was in there. It was back and forth in some moments, right? There was some moments where Steve Erceg did have a little success, landing some good counter shots and stuff like that. Brandon at first was throwing some like lunging shots, just kind of ducking low and tossing stuff over top. Now I'm like, okay, if he keeps doing that, Steve might end up catching him with something. And Steve was countering with him with a lot of shots. He was getting him with a lot of good shots, just nothing that's powerful enough to put a guy like Brandon Moreno out. Brandon Moreno is a steel chin. I mean, the man is very difficult to knock out. Davison Figueiredo in 4 fights couldn't do it. So, very difficult to knock out. But I thought, while Steve did have some early success, the way that Brandon ended up just taking over the fight is exactly what a champion should do, former champion should do. I think that you could make him and Pantoja again if you wanted to, right? If you want to book that fight, you want to make that happen, you can. But honestly, the way Brandon is, he's kind of reminding me of Max Holloway when Max lost to Volk again, and he's kind of just staying at the top of the division. While guys are trying to come up to get to the next shot, Max is wiping them out. I can see Brandon Moreno doing that. Amir Albazi's first, Steve Erceg second. Is it going to be him and Manal Cape next? Like, what's the next matchup for Brandon Moreno? Because to me, there is only 2 matchups. It's either you make him and Manal Cape to get Manal Cape that bigger opportunity, or you do Brandon Moreno and Pantoja again. I'm not sure if this would be, if Pantoja and Moreno fought again, I'm not sure if it would be their 3rd or if it would be their 4th fight technically, because I feel like they fought twice within the Ultimate Fighter, and then obviously fought the Flyweight Championship matchup. Brandon deserves a rematch. You know, if you end up making it, go for it. Not a bad opportunity, not a bad matchup to make, right? There's not that many people up at the top of the division making noise. You took a guy from a different promotion and threw him in for the last title shot, so you really don't have many options, right? And Kai Asakura is a former champion in a different promotion, but you saw it didn't translate. So you might as well just go back to the well and make it Brandon Moreno versus Pantoja, because, like I said, Moreno deserves that shot. All the fights that they were in were extremely close, right? If you watch them, they were very close fights. I don't know what happened in that fight for the championship specifically with Brandon. To me, it just looked like Brandon folded. He just folded in there. He kind of just was not, he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't answering the shots of Pantoja. He wasn't. Once the dog of Pantoja started coming out, it just didn't seem like Brandon wanted to get too engaged. But that version of Brandon that we saw on Saturday, the emotion at the end of the performance, everything like that, that is the Brandon Moreno that will beat Pantoja. Just mark my words on that. That version of Brandon Moreno right there is the one that'll beat Pantoja. One, because he's been there. He's been in the position Pantoja is in. The only difference between him and Pantoja is he was stuck. Brandon Moreno was stuck fighting the same guy 4 times in a row. Right? Saw nothing else. Saw no other competition. She fought the same guy 4 times in a row and then moves on to go and fight Pantoja. I think since that last loss to Pantoja, Moreno has seen so much depth in competition that I think he has a lot better chance of winning this fight this time around. Low-key feel bad for Steve Erceg, because dude comes in the UFC, 3-fight win streak. Now he's on a 3-fight losing streak. They got to get him back something. They got to get him something good. They got to get him a win. He's got to get himself a win. He's got very good striking. He's got clean, slick striking, good counter punching, good timing, good speed, right? I just think that there's few things missing. Few things missing in the guy's game. And he got pushed to the top extremely fast. So, not really his fault that happened. He got pushed to the top extremely fast. So, the downfall seems even quicker when it comes to happen. Right? When you make it to the top in any which way, whether you took the top over or you just made it to the top, right? Now that you're there, there's only if you can't go up any higher, just going. The downfall is way bigger, way harder to bounce back from too, especially a 3-fight losing streak. Because Steve Erceg is now on that point where Steve loses one more fight, he could be on the chopping block. It's not impossible. You know how the UFC works. Random ways, you know how the contracts go out. You've lost 3 fights, 4 fights in a row. We're not re-signing you. Goodbye. Could happen. So Steve Erceg most definitely needs a win. The guy is very talented in my opinion. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to get a win, especially in that division, right? I think that knockout against Matt Schnell's not holding much weight anymore. He needs something a little bit bigger than that now. He needs to get in either a finish in a different way, you know, maybe a submission finish or a complete domination, completely controlling a 3-round fight, you know, making some sort of statement to show that he's still, you know, still a prospect that just got thrown to the dogs pretty damn quick, you know. So those 3 fights, the 3 losses, it is what it is type of thing, and he's got to bounce back. Got to bounce back. You would also be crazy if I didn't have to mention the 2 performances on this card that were also phenomenal. Manuel Torres going out there, getting the knockout over Drew Dober in the first round. Either Drew Dober's chin is officially cracked, and it's a wrap for old bucko, or this man Manuel Torres got some pop in his hands. Clean punching, clean 1-2, just caught him so perfect. And to see Drew drop, and then, I mean, how many shots do you need to follow up? Ref, he was out, bub. He was out, bub. Simple. You know, he was landing some nasty extra fucking ground and pound on Drew. He did not need to land. And we over here just sitting back waiting. Drew ain't coming back. He ain't waking up. He's out, bud. He's asleep. Call it. Then the other performance I had to talk about is Edgar Chairez versus CJ Vergara. Not only was the crowd behind Edgar big time, like super big time, they were really rocking with him. He went out in this fight, got straight in CJ Vergara's face, put the pressure on him, hit him with a couple shots, end up working on the ground, gets a rear naked choke submission finish. Quick. First round finish. Back-to-back first round finishes before the main event that went 5. You know, it was a good card. Wasn't crazy exciting, but it had some good moments on it. It had some good fights. The Raul Rosas Jr. fight was, pretty back and forth, pretty exciting. At first, Raul's got a lot in the tank in that first round, man. If he can go out there and get finishes in the first round every single time, it'd be different, right? He would be so much more dominant. But once he gets out of that first round, you start putting him in trouble in different rounds. I'm not saying he fades, but I think he's still young in the game, so he has panic moments. He has a lot of panic moments. He did really well when he was locked in those submissions, though. When he got locked in that, I want to say he was locked in like a Darce choke or something like that. He did really well, just staying composed, not freaking out, not doing anything that he didn't need to do, not doing anything stupid. He got out nice and clean. He fought a good fight. But it's good to see a guy at his age. Right, he's just 20 years old, just turned 20. He needs as much competition, adversity, things like that. He needs things to go wrong now as much as it possibly can, so he can continue to learn. Because by the time he's 23, 24, 25, he's going to be levels ahead of these guys, just simply because of facing the competition level that he is facing now. So it's good to see him get any type of adversity coming at him. He's got to fight against something. He has to fight against a little bit more, especially now, because by that time you're looking at a kid that's going to be 24, 25, fighting up against guys that are 28, 29, 30 to 36, and he's going to be the young gun, still hungry, because just because he's been in the UFC a long time doesn't mean he's not going to be hungry. He's going to be hungry because he wants that shot. So far, this is the UFC has done this project well, right? They failed the Sage Northcutt project a long time ago, and any similar project, like that, they pretty much failed. Raul Rosas Jr. is actually going well. He has been active in his few years in the UFC, and not only has he been active, he's been exciting, and he's seen adversity and he's fought back from it. So the career is going well so far for that kid, and he's just got to stay on that right path, continue to do what he's doing, and by the time he's 24, 25, you might end up seeing him as a champion. You really might end up seeing him as a champion one day. But it's a tough division. At that point, a lot of guys have to be out of that division for Raul Rosas Jr. to end up being a champion, right? So only time will tell. That's all I'll say. Only time will tell for that. Now, on to the news. So, Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal gets canceled. Jeff Neal is sick, so we're not getting that one next weekend. That's very unfortunate, very sad. But, we are getting one April 26th or 27th, one of the 2 days. I don't know which one's the Saturday or not. But, stepping up to the plate, Ian Machado Gary is taking on Carlos Prates, and now this entire Fighting Nerds thing just changed a little bit, because now Carlos Prates is going up against a way more difficult fight than Jeff Neal. I thought Carlos Prates could go in there, end up fighting the dog of Jeff Neal, just ended up finding a counter shot and clipping him. This one's different. Now he's fighting a guy same size, same length, probably even might be taller, might have longer reach, good in the clinch, powerful striking, and has shown that he can hang on the ground. Ian is a much more well-rounded fighter than Carlos Prates for what we've seen so far. This is an interesting fight. It's an interesting fight because Ian's fighting down and Carlos is fighting way up. We'll see what happens. I like it. I like that Ian Machado Gary is willing to take any fight, no matter what spot it is in the division, no matter what danger, what threat it is in the division. That's somebody who is legitimately somebody who is in there to fight anyone, any given moment, anytime, any place, anytime, all that. You know the sayings. You know the saying. Any place, anytime. That is Ian Machado Gary, and I like that. I mess with that. Yeah, so it looks like Jamal Hill is out of the Khalil Roundtree main event. So I think now Ian Gary and Carlos Prates took over that. So that's the new main event, and Roundtree and Jamal Hill is just scratched again. But, ladies and gentlemen, we got an announcement for the June pay-per-view, the first June pay-per-view. Because I'm pretty sure late June is International Fight Week, so that month we're going to be getting 2 pay-per-views. And, of course, as UFC fans, we're going to have to pay for both. Fuck you. But either way, we got 2 championship fights announced for the same card. You got Juliana Pena has to defend her championship against her toughest challenge in the division, Kayla Harrison. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to be something to see. Can Juliana Pena find a way to win this fight? Or is Kayla Harrison everything that people have hyped her up to be and finally will become a UFC champion after so many years of being in a different promotion, dogging what a lot of us would look at as tomato cans, but she was dogging them, right? I'm interested to see this. I'm interested to see what happens. She's had a decent start to the UFC career so far. A lot of people don't think Juliana Pena is all that good, right? I think she's just incredibly ugly with her striking, incredibly ugly with her style. I want to say she's very similar to Dricus, but not as threatening as Dricus. But she has her moments, so it could make for a good fight. And then you got the main event that night is Merab Dvalishvili defending his title against Sean O'Malley. So they are doing a rematch. Had a feeling they were going to go this route. Did I want to see them go a different route? Yes, but it is what it is. We'll take this fight anyways. Can Sean get this win? Well, if Sean can avoid being on his back and actually put some pressure on the feet, always has a chance. That's how I feel about any striker against somebody who is a stronger wrestler. If you can avoid being on your back and you can put the pressure on the feet, you got a chance. Other than that, you're going to be on your back all night. He's just going to be taunting you, joking with you, trolling you, landing shots, unless you put one right on the jaw and sleep that man early. That's Sean's best way to win that fight. I mean, I don't see Sean being able to piece up Merab for 5 rounds to keep him away from doing what Merab does. You know, there's a lot of things. Sometimes guys don't show up to these fights, but it seems like these Dagestan guys, these Chechen guys, all these guys from the mountains, they just seem to show up. The Georgians, right? They just show up. I don't know how else to explain it. They just show up, and that's why they win. They show up to the big matchup. They show up. There's nothing that holds them back. They show up. So I think Merab always is going to pose a threat. It's not going to be one of those things where Sean could catch him on an off night like Sean Strickland did with Israel Adesanya type thing. Like, I don't think he's going to catch him on an off night. Sean has to be on point, completely defending the takedowns, making him pay on the takedowns too, because you know he's going to continue to shoot even when he does miss. He's not going to stop shooting. Merab's gas tank is ridiculous. He is not going to stop shooting. So you have to make him pay every time he does miss the shot or fail the shot or whatever the case may be. You have to make him pay. Besides that, ping him on the feet. That's Sean's only opportunity to win that fight. Well, that's it for this episode. This weekend we got Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy as the main event. So make sure to stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe, because the breakdown is coming for that one next. And then we have UFC 314, that massive stacked card in Miami that, of course, cannot break that down. I have to break that down. I'm going to do a breakdown for Volk, do a breakdown for Diego Lopez, do a breakdown for the card. We're going to talk about that a lot because the card is so stacked. We have to get into it. But either way, you know what to do. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. I'll catch you in the next episode. Your boy Bando's out. Peace.